Hey kids, I want to make a little screencast to walk you through these works cited instructions. I think they're pretty self-explanatory, but just in case they're not, I know you may have a few questions. I think we all know that the works cited is the part of your paper where you tell your reader all the information they need to know about the piece of writing that you are citing. Right? In your literary essay, you're citing, quoting from a piece of writing, and in your case, it's a poem. So we have to provide a works cited. Now, where did you get your poem? You actually just got it from me, right? I showed you a copy of it. But for your works cited, you can't simply put, I got this poem from my lit analysis teacher. So what you have to do instead is find a place where the poem exists and then use that place, that website probably, as your citation. So then someone who read your essay, like your mom or your dad or some random person out in the world, could go look at the poem themselves. That's the point of the works cited pretty much all the time, is it gives the person reading your essay a chance to go look for themselves at the sources you're citing, so they can look at those sources too and decide for themselves whether your interpretation of them was good, or use those sources as a way to read more about what you're writing. All right, so you need a place your poem comes from in order to cite your poem. The first thing I tell you to do is to do a Google search for your poem, and I tell you that probably one of these four main websites is going to come up. For about 80% of you, that's true. If you get loc.gov, that's Library of Congress, or Poetry Foundation, or poets.org, or Poetry Society, you can use that. If one of these doesn't come up, and I say this right here, just keep scrolling until you find a website that looks kind of official. You don't want to cite the poem as it appears on someone's blog, but if you can find a website that looks like it's connected with some sort of institution or some sort of, maybe with a school, maybe a website that ends in edu, you could use that as a source. So you're going to open that site. Then you're going to create your citation. This is in MLA style. Everything we do in English classes is in MLA style. There are 7 components to the citation, and I list them here. Down here is an example of what those 7 components would look like. So if you read these specific instructions, you'll see for each one I wrote, see the example below. So the first component is the author's name, and I said see the example below. There it is, author's name. The second component is the poem title, and I put see the example below. There it is, poem title. Now, for each of these, I give you specific information about how it's supposed to be written. So, for example, author's name needs to be last name first, a comma separating the last name from the first name, and then a period after the first name. Sure enough, that's what I have right here. You'll do the poem title, read these instructions carefully. You'll do the website title in italics. The website title is the name of the website, and that's not the same as the URL. URL is the www dot, the web address. The name of the website is, a lot of times it's similar to the URL, but not always. So for example, if I'm going to scroll back up here, the name of the Poetry Society website is Poetry Society, and that's pretty similar to poetrysociety.org. But loc.gov is not that similar to Library of Congress. Library of Congress is actually the name of that website. They just decided that they wanted their URL to be loc.gov because it was shorter. Publisher is the organization that created the website. And a lot of times it's the same as the name of the website, but not always. So I believe Poetry Society is made by the Poetry Society of America. I think that's the name of the organization that makes that website. The organization that makes loc.gov is the Library of Congress. You can usually find this at the very bottom of the page next to a copyright symbol. And, important, I put this in bold, if the name of the organization that's publishing the website is the same as the website title, you don't have to write it again. Here, number 5. I put this in red and in bold because kids ask a lot of questions about it. The date the poem was posted on this website. You almost certainly won't find this. So I'm telling you what to do if you don't find it. If you don't find it, leave it out. Most of you won't find it. If you don't find it, leave it out. If it exists, it will probably be at the bottom of the page next to a copyright symbol. So it's not, let me just say about this date, that it's not the same as the date the poem was written, because a lot of these poems were written before the internet didn't even exist, right? It's the date this poem was published on this particular website, the date that somebody made this page and put the poem on it. So again, most of the time you're not going to find this, and if you don't, leave it out. URL is the www. And then the word accessed followed by the date you accessed the poem. The date you accessed the poem is probably the same day that you're watching this video. It's the day you looked up the poem. So again, here's my example of a complete work cited. Notice this here. This is the date my poem was published on its website, but you almost certainly will not find this. That arrow is going to 5 June 2006. Here is a place for you to create your own works cited. When you see brackets, that means replace the brackets with what is being described inside the brackets. So here, instead of last name, you would write your author's last name and take those brackets out. You'd leave the comma. Here, you'd write your author's first name and remove those brackets. You'd write this period, etc., etc. Title of the poem, capitalized correctly. You keep these quote marks, get rid of those brackets. Name of the website, capitalized correctly. See, this is in italics. It's because the name of the website goes in italics. It says that right up here, the website title in italics. The main things I want to comment on as far as like common mistakes kids make. Number 1, a lot of times kids format the date wrong. The date gets formatted in day, month, year, order. No commas. Not month, day, year. Also, it's not 25th, it's 25. It's not 5th, it's 5. Kids forget to capitalize the name of the website. Formatting. These instructions, I believe, are in your published form doc, but I'll just tell you here as well. This kind of formatting where the first line is not indented, but the rest of them are, is called hanging indents. And you can make hanging indents 2 ways. One is to select the text that you want to have hanging indented and come up here and mess with these blue dealies right here. The triangle shape one would line up with the indented lines, and the rectangle would line up with the first line. The other way is to, let's imagine that I just undid all this hanging indentation. The way I would do hanging indents, the second way, would be to put my cursor at the end of this line and then hit enter and then tab. And then same thing here, enter. Oh, it read my mind. It knew what I was trying to do. Okay, so enter tab. So you do hanging indents. I'm just gonna go back, get this the way it was. All right, so I think pretty self-explanatory. If you want to see another example of what a finished one would look like, go look at the sample completed literary essay that's on Classroom. And that's it.